How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. The relationship between witchcraft and narcissism. That's the title of this video. This relationship of witchcraft and narcissism can be complex and multifaceted, often influenced by individual interpretations and societal contexts. So in this video, I'm going to give you a comprehensive list exploring various aspects of this relationship between a narcissist and a witch. Now let's look at the general concepts. Self-absorption. Both witchcraft and narcissism can involve a focus on self, whether it's through personal empowerment or self-admiration. The second concept is power dynamics. Narcissism often revolves around a need for power and control, which can sometimes align with the desire for power seen in certain witchcraft practices. There is the attention-seeking concept. Narcissists may seek attention and validation, similar to how some practitioners of witchcraft might use their practice to draw attention to themselves. Then there is the concept of manipulation. Both witchcraft and narcissism can involve manipulation. Narcissists use manipulation to control others, and some practitioners of witchcraft use manipulation to influence outcomes or people. The other relationship between narcissists and witches is the identity creation. Witchcraft can be a path to self-discovery and identity formation, which may resonate with the narcissistic quest for a distinct self-image. Then we have the concept of exclusivity. Narcissists often crave exclusivity and uniqueness, traits that can also be present in the esoteric and often secretive nature of witchcraft. Now, let's look at the historical and cultural context in the relationship between witchcraft and narcissism. The historical stigmatization concept. Witchcraft has historically been stigmatized. Sometimes it has been used to label individuals who are seen as different, which could overlap with the traits of narcissism. Then the other concept is romanticization. In modern times, witchcraft can be romanticized, which can attract individuals with narcissistic tendencies who are drawn to idealized images of power and uniqueness. Then we have the occult fascination. Narcissists may be attracted to the occult and witchcraft for its perceived power and mystic, which can align with their self-importance. Then we have the concept of social influence. Both narcissism and witchcraft can influence social dynamics. Narcissists often shape social circles to their advantage, while witches might do so through their practices. Then we have the psychological perspectives. Grandiosity concept. Narcissists have a sense of grandiosity, which can be reflected in the way some individuals perceive their magical or spiritual capabilities. Self-esteem concept. Narcissism is linked to fragile self-esteem, and witchcraft can be used as a tool to bolster or mask these insecurities. Then we have the fantasy versus the reality concept. Both witchcraft and narcissism can blur the lines between fantasy and reality. Narcissists do this through their self-image, and witches do this through their magical beliefs. Then we have the concept of projection. Narcissists often project their traits onto others, which might be mirrored in the way some view the practices or people involved in witchcraft. Then we have the concept of validation. The search for validation in narcissism can be paralleled by the way some seek validation through magical success or mystical experiences. Then we have the concept, the practice and belief systems concepts. Let's look at the rituals concept. Narcissists might create elaborate personal rituals to reinforce their sense of importance, similar to how witches use rituals to effect change. Narcissists also, there's this concept of symbols. Both narcissists and practitioners of witchcraft might use symbols. Narcissists use symbols for self-aggrandizement, and witches use symbols for magical purposes. Then we have the esoteric knowledge. Narcissists may be drawn to esoteric knowledge to feel special or superior, a trait that can also be seen in those who practice witchcraft. Then we have the ceremonies concept. Both narcissism and witchcraft may participate in ceremonies that reinforce their beliefs or sense of self, whether for personal gain or spiritual purposes. Then we have the authority figures concept. Narcissists often see themselves as superior, while in witchcraft, practitioners may see themselves as authorities in their spiritual practices. Then we have the social interactions concepts in the relationship between witchcraft and narcissism. There is the concept of charisma. Narcissists often possess charisma, which can be appealing to those interested in or involved with witchcraft. Then we have the manipulative relationships concept. Both narcissists and some individuals in witchcraft may engage in manipulative relationships to achieve their goals. Then we have the influence concept. Narcissists and witches might seek to influence others through the motives and methods that enhance them. In short, both narcissists and witches seek to influence others, but their motives and their methods can sometimes be different. Then the group dynamics concept. In group settings, both narcissists and those practicing witchcraft can dominate conversations on influence group norms. In the community building concept, narcissists might build communities that reflect their own ideals, just as practitioners of witchcraft may form covens or circles with shared beliefs. Then we have the personality or the personal identity and self-perception. We have the self-importance concept. Narcissists' need for self-importance can be mirrored in the self-perception of some individuals involved in witchcraft. Then there is the unique identity concept. Both narcissism and witchcraft may cultivate a unique identity. Narcissists may cultivate a unique identity through their sense of superiority, and witches may cultivate a unique identity through their magical or spiritual practices. Then there is the concept of reinforcement. Narcissists may seek to reinforce their self-image through external validation, similar to how witches may reinforce their identity through successful magical outcomes. Then we have the concept of self-actualization. Witchcraft can be a path to self-actualization, which might appeal to narcissists seeking personal fulfillment and recognition. Then we have the personal mythology concept. Narcissists often create personal mythologies to support their self-image, akin to how witches might develop their own spiritual narratives. Then we have the modern interpretations concept. The pop culture concept. Media portrayals of witchcraft and narcissism can influence perceptions, often blending elements of both in fictional contexts. Then we have the self-help movements. Both witchcraft and certain self-help movements can appeal to narcissists looking to enhance their self-image or personal power. Then we have the social media concept. Narcissists might use social media to project an idealized self-image, while individuals interested in witchcraft might use it to share their practices and connect with like-minded people. Then we have the New Age spirituality. Some aspects of New Age spirituality, which often incorporates elements of witchcraft, can attract those with narcissistic tendencies, seeking specialness or enlightenment. Then we have the therapeutic practices. Both might use therapeutic or self-improvement practices. Narcissists to reinforce their self-worth, and practitioners of witchcraft for spiritual growth. Then we have the misconceptions and stereotypes concepts. Stigmatization concept is where the misconceptions about witchcraft often involve negative stereotypes that can sometimes intersect with traits associated with narcissism. The cultural narrative concept. Both witchcraft and narcissism can be misunderstood or misinterpreted or misrepresented in cultural narratives, leading to conflated or skewed perceptions. Then we have this exploitation concept, whereby narcissists might exploit beliefs in witchcraft for personal gain, while some might view witchcraft as a means to exploit others. Then we have the scapegoating concept. Historical and cultural scapegoating of witches sometimes aligns with the way narcissists might blame others for their own failings. Then we have the mystic and allure concept. The mystic surrounding both witchcraft and narcissism can be alluring to those seeking validation or a sense of exclusivity. Then we have the personal experiences and perceptions. Now, there's this concept of empowerment where witchcraft can be empowering, which might attract narcissists seeking to enhance their personal power. Then we have the self-image concept. Both can involve the construction and reinforcement of a self-image. Narcissists with their grandiosity, witches with their magical identities. Then we have the validation seeking. Individuals with narcissistic traits may seek validation through witchcraft practices, believing they're special or unique. Then we have the control concept. Both witchcraft and narcissism may involve a desire to control one's environment or destiny, whether through narcissistic behaviors or magical practices. Then we have the personal growth concept. Narcissists might pursue personal growth strategies that overlap with or incorporate elements of witchcraft for self-improvement. Then we have the community and belonging. The exclusive groups concept. Narcissists may seek exclusive groups or covens to reinforce their sense of specialness, a trait that can also be found in witchcraft communities. Then we have the cult dynamics. Both narcissism and some forms of witchcraft can exhibit cult-like dynamics with strong leaders and followers who support their vision. Then we have the influence of leaders concept. Charismatic leaders in witchcraft can attract those with narcissistic tendencies who may be drawn to the leader's aura of power and authority. Then we have the social validation concept. Both may seek social validation from their respective communities, narcissists from their peers, and witches from their covens or spiritual circles. Then we have the group influence concept. In both contexts, group influence can play a role in shaping behaviors and beliefs, often amplifying individual traits. Then we have that witchcraft and narcissism have an impact on others. When we talk about manipulation, narcissists can manipulate others for their own gain, a behavior that can sometimes be mirrored in the practice of those using witchcraft for personal advantage. Then there's the emotional toll, which has an impact on others. The dynamics of narcissism can have a significant emotional toll on others, just as certain manipulative practices in witchcraft can affect relationships. Then we have the conflict impact on others. Both narcissism and certain interpretations of witchcraft can lead to conflicts with others, whether due to personality clashes or differing beliefs. Then we have the personal relationships, the impact that both narcissism and witchcraft have on personal relationships. Narcissists might use relationships for validation and control, while individuals practicing witchcraft might do so to influence or impact their relationships. Then we have the ethical considerations in both witchcraft and narcissism. The ethical implications of both narcissism and witchcraft can affect how they are perceived and interacted with by others. Now, the issue of reflection and critique. Narcissists, when it comes to self-reflection, narcissists might resist self-reflection, whereas witchcraft can involve significant introspection and self-awareness. When it comes to critiquing of self, witchcraft often encourages self-critique and growth, which contrasts with the narcissistic avoidance of self-criticism. When we talk about accountability, narcissists often avoid accountability, while witchcraft practices may include elements of personal responsibility and ethical conduct. Then we have the issue of spiritual versus psychological. The spiritual aspects of witchcraft can differ significantly from the psychological traits of narcissism, though there can be overlaps in individual practices and beliefs. Then we have the cultural critique. Critics of both narcissism and witchcraft can reveal underlying cultural tensions and misunderstandings. Then we have the personal empowerment and autonomy. When it comes to empowerment, both narcissism and witchcraft can be seen as pathways to personal empowerment through their motivations and outcomes may differ. So, when it comes to autonomy, narcissists often seek autonomy to reinforce their self-image, while practitioners of witchcraft may pursue autonomy for personal or spiritual reasons. Then when it comes to self-determination, narcissists may view themselves as uniquely determined, while witches may seek self-determination through spiritual practices. When it comes to resilience, both narcissists and witches, or those practicing witchcraft, can involve elements of resilience. Narcissists will do this in their personal endeavors and witches in their spiritual journeys. When it comes to self-reliance, narcissists often promote self-reliance as a virtue, which can also be a characteristic of individuals practicing witchcraft seeking personal power. Now, when you talk about perceptions and misunderstandings, both witchcraft and narcissism can be misunderstood or mischaracterized by those outside their respective communities. When it comes to media representation, media portrayals can exaggerate or distort the relationship between witchcraft and narcissism, affecting public perceptions. When it comes to stereotyping, stereotypes about witchcraft and narcissism can lead to oversimplified or inaccurate views of individuals involved in these practices. When it comes to cultural biases, cultural biases can influence how witchcraft and narcissism are perceived and conflated. When it comes to prejudice against both witchcraft and narcissism can contribute to a lack of nuanced understanding. Then let's talk about therapeutic and self-improvement. When we talk about therapeutic use, some therapeutic approaches might address narcissistic traits through practices that overlap with elements of witchcraft, such as mindfulness or self-reflection. When you talk about self-help techniques, both narcissists and practitioners of witchcraft might engage in self-help techniques for personal growth, though their motivations and methods can differ. When you talk about healing practices in witchcraft can sometimes be used to address narcissistic tendencies, though this approach can be controversial or misunderstood. When we talk about spiritual growth, witchcraft often involves spiritual growth and self-improvement, which can also be relevant for those seeking to understand or mitigate narcissistic traits. When you talk about empowerment strategies, both might use empowerment strategies, narcissists to enhance their self-image and witches to achieve spiritual or personal goals. Now, let's talk about interpersonal dynamics. When it comes to relationship patterns, narcissists often have specific relationship patterns, which can be observed in their interactions with those interested in witchcraft or the occult. When we talk about influence on others, both can exert influence over others, whether through charm, manipulation, or spiritual practices. When you talk about conflict resolution in relationships involving narcissists or those practicing witchcraft can be complex and varied. When we talk about boundary issues, both might exhibit boundary issues. Narcissists through control and manipulation, and some in witchcraft through intrusive practices. When you talk about personal impact of narcissism and witchcraft can vary widely, affecting individuals differently based on their own traits and beliefs. Now, let's look at broader implications. Let's look at the cultural impact. The cultural impact of both narcissism and witchcraft can influence societal norms and values. When we talk about social movements, both witchcraft and narcissism can be part of broader social movements. Narcissism in terms of self-enhancement and witchcraft in terms of spiritual or cultural revival. When you talk about ethical questions, both raise ethical questions about power, influence, and personal responsibility. When you talk about influence on beliefs, both can shape and influence beliefs, whether through personal empowerment or spiritual practices. When you talk about societal reactions to both can range from acceptance to condemnation, affecting how they are perceived and practiced. When you talk about personal reflection and specifically introspection, narcissists may resist introspection, while witchcraft often encourages deep self-reflection and personal growth. When we talk about growth potential, both have potential for personal growth, though the processes and outcomes can differ. When we talk about self-awareness, narcissists might struggle with self-awareness, whereas witchcraft often promotes it as a key component of practice. When you talk about identity exploration, witchcraft can be a tool for exploring identity, which might resonate with narcissists seeking to understand or enhance their sense of self. When you talk about personal change, both can be vehicles for personal change, though the motivations and methods can differ widely. Now, in conclusion, there's an overlap in this between witchcraft and narcissism. There can be overlapping traits between narcissism and witchcraft, but they are distinct phenomena with different origins and implications. Then there's these diverse practices. Both witchcraft and narcissism encompass a wide range of practices and beliefs, leading to varied interpretations and experiences. Then we have misconceptions. Addressing misconceptions about both narcissism and witchcraft can lead to a more nuanced understanding of their relationship. Then we have the interpersonal impact. The impact of both narcissism and witchcraft on interpersonal relationships can be significant, influencing dynamics and interactions. Then we have societal influence. Both narcissism and witchcraft can influence, and they can be influenced by societal trends and cultural contexts. Then we have personal agency. Both witchcraft and narcissism can involve aspects of personal agency. Narcissism through self-enhancement, and witchcraft through spiritual practices. Then there is the critical examination aspect of both narcissism and witchcraft, which can reveal deeper insights into their relationship and impact. When you talk about individual experiences with narcissism and witchcraft can be highly individual and context dependent. When you talk about ethical considerations play a significant role in understanding the dynamics of both narcissism and witchcraft. Now, when you talk about the ongoing dialogue, the relationship between narcissism and witchcraft is an area of ongoing dialogue and exploration, inviting further study and reflection. Thank you for watching this video. This list I've given in this video covers a wide range of aspects and nuances related to the intersection of witchcraft and narcissism, highlighting both similarities and differences in their influence and impact. Please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, click that subscribe button. Share this video widely to all those who may need it. Thank you.